Namaste. Welcome. Ambika Devi, Yogini Yoda here. Are you ready to breathe like a yogi? Let's do this. I'm so excited to be teaching you this, but we're going to relax. And this is going to increase your level of immunity, your happiness level, fill your lungs with incredible oxygen. We've already cleared out the sinuses, learned how to sit. Let's do this. So we've got the zabuton here. Now remember, I taught you how to bolster if you need it, but I'm not going over that again. So if you need to, you'll have to just kind of watch along, do the best you can, and later go back and watch the seating video that I made for you. First of all, let's talk about how we get into this deep, deep breath and what's going to really be happening in it. So we've got ribs, and these ribs move kind of like the handle of a bucket. If you can imagine, the handle of a bucket can move up and down. These ribs can move up and down. So it's not just an expansion, but there's also a movement of bone inside of our bodies, which is super interesting the way that works. And I want you to visualize if you can, but if you're more kinesthetic, you can close your eyes and imagine it as you're breathing. Ultimately, we're going to be taking a very long breath that comes into the body, and then we'll hold it, and then we'll exhale it really slowly. But we'll work into this in stages. So everything will be incremental and just a little bit at a time. Now, I want you to do your best to breathe in and out through your nose. We've already cleared out the sinuses. Hopefully you did that to prepare. So you should be able to breathe through both sides. And we might even add in something later to get it more integrated so you are breathing. Now, you might not know this, but during the day, your nostrils switch. You've probably noticed this when you've been a little congested. That could be from food, or it could just be from pollen. Right now, it's pollen season where I am, and even a super healthy person can feel that. Different things that happen to us being out in the world, although now there's not as much pollution because there's not as much driving going on. But things can get into our sinuses and can block them. So it's so important to be aware of what's going on. Not everybody can feel the air coming in and out of their nose. So do the best you can. Remember, you can always come to me and I can help you one-on-one. So just do the best you can with this experience today, and we'll have some different opportunities of what we're doing and how we're doing it. We'll be breathing in and out through the nose. If at any time you start to feel kind of filled up or like you need to let some sound out or let the breath out your mouth, that's okay. But then go back to breathing in and out through your nose. Hopefully you've got some water nearby, because as we work on breathing, you might find yourself getting dry because you're taking more oxygen in and out, and you might just feel that you're drying out in your mouth. So you'll probably see me sipping some water. Everything is about becoming more aware and feeling. So if it's easier for you to feel with your eyes closed, do it. If it's easier for you to watch me, do it. This is just about experiencing and having fun and getting involved. Let's just try and tune in to what it feels like to have a little bit of a full deep breath. And in order to do that, we are going to just close the eyes or keep them open, whatever's more comfortable, and imagine the action of the ribs. And as you're breathing in and out through your nose, just notice all the physical sensations that are going on in your body. Maybe You can notice the breath coming in and out through your nose. Maybe you notice the muscles of the belly and the action of them moving. Now, you might imagine them moving out and back towards the spine, or you might imagine a sensation of up and down. The diaphragm is more like a basketball. It's like a sphere. Now, when we're little, we're taught it's kind of a line across here, but that's just a portion of it. It actually encircles all of the viscera in the belly. So you can think of it as expanding like a balloon and contracting back like a balloon. Another great visualization that you can do is find your belly button and then find a spot on your back and imagine a very tiny thread that can get tight and contract when you draw in and pull the muscles in. That will push up on the diaphragm and push the air out. And as you inhale, you can relax it and let it go out like a Buddha belly, and that will draw down on the top of the diaphragm and create a vacuum so that more air gets in the lungs. The lungs are really pretty tiny. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but if you get the opportunity to see actual lungs, perhaps at a science center, wow, it is so cool to see them because it's amazing how tiny they are, and they fuel us with oxygen. They're closest to the surface right here on the sides of the body, right in between the ribs. That's why they're the closest. And I encourage you to put your hands on your body and feel things while you're moving and sense them. Action is one thing, but also relaxing and letting go of the thought and trying to follow things and just feel the sensation. So anytime you need to just stop, that's fine. Just do it. And then come back and join us. Now, I did ask you earlier if you would have a weight handy. I've got a 5-pound hand weight here. You could use a book or anything you've got around that's got a little weight. 2 to 5 pounds is good, but even just your hands will work. And what we're going to do is get on our backs so we can start to get the sense of the belly moving. So I'm going to move my zabuton off of my mat right now, and I'm going to lie down on my back. Now you might find that it's easier to feel the sensation with your knees up. And then just lie back and get your back snuggled into the mat. And just place your hands wherever it's comfortable right now. Let your feet be in an easy, gentle posture so you're not fighting to keep your knees bent. Put your hands anywhere on your belly, preferably below the ribs and above the hip bones. And close your eyes with your arms in a comfortable position supported by the floor. And just breathe in and out through your nose at whatever pace is comfortable for you. Don't worry about count. Just notice the action of what's happening. Notice the feel of your low back in the floor. And notice your jaw. Are you clenching your jaw? Relax it. So what you can do is open your mouth really wide. So you're moving your lower jaw near your chest, and that could induce a yawn. And we know yawns are contagious, so hopefully I just got you to yawn. That helps get the stale air out of the bottom part of the lungs. You might even feel like you want to lift your hips up or rock and roll your hips a little bit with your feet off the floor. If it feels better to have your knees knocked in so that they're making more of a triangle to your ankles, that's fine. And then go back to hands on the belly. And just notice the action of the rise of the belly when you inhale and the lowering, the deflating of that balloon as you exhale. Now what I'd like you to do next is take your right hand and put it down below your navel in the lower belly area. And take your left hand and put it up in the chest area. Now, if you feel like your arms are a little awkward, you might need to stick a pillow under them, but I'm so used to it, I can just do it like this. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the center of your chest. And I want you to notice, are you breathing more in the top, near the chest, or are you feeling your belly move? Taking a long inhale in, and then exhaling. Let's do that one more time. Now what we're going to do is take the weight and put it on the lower belly. This way we can really feel the action of the muscles of the lower abdomen moving and working. And when you're inhaling, I want you to feel like you're pushing the weight away from you towards the ceiling. And as you're exhaling, resist it a bit as it moves down. This is also a really great strengthener for your breathing. So placing that weight down on the lower abdomen. If it feels good to hold it, you can, so it doesn't rock off of your body. Taking deep breaths in, pushing the weight up to the sky. Now let's pause with it up there and really push the weight up. And then exhale and slowly lower the weight down. Right now I'm still breathing into the lower abdomen. There might be some movement in the chest. You're probably feeling the ribs move, but focus here on the lower abdomen. How's that feeling for you so far? Take the weight off for a moment and feel the freedom of what it feels like to just be your body, your weight, and your resistance. This might induce another yawn. And if at any time you feel like you need to lift the arms up, go for it, because this will open up more space in the lungs. And potentially we'll be able to take even more breath in. Every once in a while you can let a sound out. It could be ah. Let's place the weight back on that lower abdomen again. Now I want you to keep the weight there with your right hand, just gently, and put the left hand on the upper area again. This would be right in the breastbone or sternum area of the chest. We're going to inhale, pushing the weight, and then continue up and try and push the left hand, continuing inhaling. Holding for a second, and then slowly lowering the left hand before we let the right begin to sink with the weight. Now let's pause. We'll call this the bottom of the breath before we continue towards the top. One more time. Starting with the belly, inhaling. Continuing, filling the chest. Pausing. Exhaling from the chest. Continuing to exhale from the belly. Pausing. Notice your low back in the floor. One more breath like this. Inhaling into the lower abdomen. Continuing up into the chest. Pausing and holding. And holding that breath out. Let's remove the weight now. Keep the hands where they are and continue breathing in this way. Inhaling into the lower abdomen. Feeling the freedom and expansion continuing up into the chest. Pausing. Exhaling from the chest. Exhaling from the lower abdomen. Drawing the navel towards the spine. And pause. Do a few more breaths like this on your own, everybody. Let's take a breath and really breathing also. Let's take a little rest. You can put your arms, palms up, out from your sides. You can let your legs down, or if it feels better to have them up, keep them up. You can let them spread out and let your toes drop out to the sides. Just shift around if you need to, lifting your shoulders or your head or your hips to make sure you're as comfortable on the floor or surface where you are as you possibly can be. Relax the breath so it's as subtle as it can be. Excellent. Bring your knees up and curl over onto your side to ease yourself back up to a seated position. So far what we've done is we've taken a two-step breath. So we've only used belly and chest. Ultimately, we're going to get ourselves to a three-step breath. What will happen though in the very beginning is sometimes we'll overemphasize. And I want you to get comfortable with this two-step breath. Dirga is the name of the long breath. There are different ways to say it. Pranayama is a breathing exercise. But we'll just call it by its English name for right now. Now, if you remember from how I taught you how to sit earlier, I'm going to give you specific directions, whether you're in a masculine body or a feminine body. This has to do with your indoor or outdoor plumbing and not how you associate, okay? So it has to do with anatomy. If you've got feminine anatomy, then I want you to put your right foot in your perineum so that your heel is touching it and your left foot is in front. If you're masculine plumbing, then you're going to do it the opposite way with the left foot in first and the right foot on top. Remember earlier when I was teaching you about neti, I was talking about the science. Your body has different polarities. It has different energy running through it. And these exercises are developed and designed to work with those specific polarities. Look, the reality is We all have both, but the plumbing has something to do with it. So just go with it. Knees have to go out to the side, and when you're comfortable sitting flat like I am, you will feel your shins rolling forward a little. The knees should always be comfortable. If you're in one of those mid areas using one of the pillows like I taught you earlier, you might want to have something rolled up under your thigh. Ultimately, what we want is we want the knees lower than the hips. Now, when you're sitting on a flat surface, they're pretty much even, but if you're sitting properly with the spine lifted, then you actually are a little bit above your knees. I saw a question, but it popped off the screen. All right, so with this position, let's see if we can feel that two-step breath. Breathing into the belly, expanding on the inhale, up into the chest for the rest of the inhale, exhaling from the chest, and then exhaling from the belly. I'm going to turn sideways for this one. So I'm keeping my right hand on my belly and my left hand on the chest. You'll see my belly expand out like that, my chest expand out, then my chest in and my belly in. Exhaling to begin, sitting up nice and straight and tall, lifting up, lifting the chest up as if there's a string or a thread, pulling your sternum up to the sky, inhaling your belly out, inhaling your chest out, exhaling your chest, exhaling your belly. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling and exhaling. One more time. Inhaling and exhaling. So you can see how using the weight is helpful, because then you can really feel that push and pull when you're working on your back. And then when you're free of the weight, it's a whole lot easier sitting and starting to feel the action of it. The weight really helps you get in touch with the muscles. Now let's talk about the three-part breath. This is the ultimate long breath. This is the absolute beginning place to breathe like a yogi. So the first part is here in the belly, the second part here in the chest, and the third is filling and expanding the top area. Now the thing I want you to be aware of is it's not about lifting your shoulders up. Your shoulders are going to stay totally relaxed. There's nothing to move there. So you're sitting up as straight as you can. Exhale, draw everything in. Relax the chest. Let's see if we can do it in a seated position. Inhaling into the belly. Inhaling into the chest. Inhaling into the top. Exhaling the top. Exhaling the chest. Exhaling the belly. Let me turn sideways for that one. Exhaling to make sure you're ready to start. Inhaling into the belly. Inhaling into the chest. Inhaling into the top. Exhaling from the top. Exhaling from the chest. Exhaling from the belly. A visualization that might work for you is imagine like you're a big glass and the air, the oxygen that you're breathing in and out is like a pitcher being poured in, and then it's just magically coming out. If we were a glass and we were filling it up, the bottom would get filled first. So as the water, or in this case air, is being filled in, we're expanding in the belly. Then it's getting filled here. Then that last bit in the chest. And then to empty out, just like if we were pouring a glass out, the top of the fluid would leave before the bottom. So we'd be exhaling here, and then exhaling and drawing this in. Let's go on our back and see how that feels. Usually we're a lot more relaxed and we don't overemphasize the top here. If you feel any tension in the neck, you're pushing it a little too hard. Just relax. It could be very, very subtle. Doesn't have to be a big action of muscles. Just relax and check your jaw. This is a good time to take your fingers right in your jaw joints. That's the temporal mandibular joint. And when you open your mouth, you can feel into the crease. And let's massage that a little bit. You can also take your earlobes and give them a little bit of a coin rub and a massage. Let's go around the whole ears like that. This is an incredible way to calm yourself down. So if you ever are feeling some stress, coin rubbing your ears is a beautiful way to relax. I imagine it's making you smile like it's making me smile. Now take your hands and give yourself a bit of a massage on the back of your neck. I like to go like this. Go all the way up the neck to where it connects with the skull. That's at the occipital ridge. That's that bone that goes across the back, where your neck disappears up under your skull. And then take a hand to the opposite shoulder and squeeze on your trapezius muscles. That's these muscles right here at the top of your shoulders. Notice how your belly is relaxing more. And let's take the other hand. Give the other side some intention. Just to get a little bit more body awareness and also to stir up some energy, take your hands, they could be slightly cupped, and just pat your arms on all four sides. Let's do the other arm. Every once in a while, tune into your breathing. What's going on with that? Do you notice your belly getting more relaxed? You can also take your fingers and drum on your chest up at the top. Open your mouth and let yourself yawn. This will also get some more clear emptying out of the lungs. Get some more, if there's any more stale air hanging out in there. And then you can take your hand in a flat fist, so you have a flat surface with your fingers to your palm, and drum under your arm, where I taught you that your lungs are very close to the surface. Again, you might be inspired to yawn. Oh, that feels so good. Let's do the other side. If you want, you can rest your hand right on top of your head. Roll your shoulders. And then roll the other way. Each little movement we do is building on the previous one and giving us more relaxation and taking us into an even deeper potential of a yogi-like breath. Notice the difference of what you're feeling in your body now. Even your legs and your hips probably feel more relaxed. Let's see if you can expand the belly on an inhale, expand the chest, and expand the upper lungs up under the shoulders. And then exhale as if you're pouring out the pitcher. Exhale in the upper chest. Exhale and draw the belly in towards the spine. Let's do that again. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath like that, everybody. Inhale in the belly. Inhale in the chest. Inhale in the upper lungs. Hold. Exhale from the top. Exhale from the chest. Exhale from the belly. Let's lie down and see what that feels like on our backs. Again, I recommend you keep your knees up. And with the upper hand this time, you can feel a little higher if you want, so that you can really feel that upper part of the chest expand. I'm going to switch hands just so you have a different view. So with one hand down on the belly below the navel, exhale. Make sure your back is comfortable on the floor. If you want to put your knees together, that's fine, or they can stay apart. And let's inhale into the belly. Inhale into the chest. Inhale into the top. And pause. Exhale from the top. Exhale from the chest. Exhale from the lower belly. And pause. Continuing on. Inhale. Belly. Chest. Upper chest. Exhale. Upper. Middle. Lower. Inhale, lower, middle, upper, exhale, upper, middle, lower. Oh, take a few more breaths like that if you can, everybody. Do it at your own pace. Don't worry about my counting. I won't count now. But just think of pouring in that pitcher, inhaling, filling up the bottom, then the middle, then the top, pausing, exhaling from the top, the middle, the bottom, pausing. It's in those pause points, those cessations of the breath, that we quiet the mind. The mind can no longer chatter when the breath is held. It doesn't matter if it's on the way in or the way out. Try it. Let's see what you feel. If you don't need your hands anymore and you can just focus, let them relax. listen to your breath. That's why we don't have any music on, because I want you to really listen to your breath. That's the music, the sound of you breathing. Keep going. Take a few more breaths like that. If you feel like you want to try it seated again, you can. See how relaxed you can be. Breathing in that 3-part, very long breath. And notice if you can hold the air inside for a little bit longer and slow the exhale out like a lazy river flowing into the distance and pausing before you slowly bring the air back in one more time. Keep going, everybody. Now notice what your face is doing. Are you making a weird expression? Let the corners of your mouth turn up into just a little smile. Okay, relax just a little bit now. Just relax the breath. Make sure your jaw is loose and relaxed. And let it be whatever pace it wants to be right now. Just take a break. That's actually exercise what you're doing. So in the beginning, it's really important for us to not push it too hard, because we have to build up the strength and the flexibility and the muscle control to be able to do this. Do you want to learn something a little bit more magical? What we can do when we're inhaling is we can make a sound as if it's the beginning of a snore. So if we were snoring with our mouths closed, it's almost like we're snorting and we're going to clear out the back of the sinuses. But we're not going to overdo it like that. We're just letting the air create a little bit of a sound. And then the same thing on the way out. So the air becomes like the waves of the ocean. This is a little bit of a different technique. And in one of my upcoming pranayama classes, one of the breathing toolkit classes, we'll be focusing more on this. But why not give it a little bit of a try without putting too much effort or emphasis on it? Just see if you can accentuate the sound a little bit and get into it. The sound of your own breath, like ocean waves, is very relaxing. And it takes all the stressors off of you. So give it a try. And if at this point you feel like you want to lie down again, that's fine. Or you can stay seated. If sitting with your legs crossed Doesn't feel good? You can sit with your feet behind you, big toes touching, and make a little cradle for your booty right inside your heels. This may or may not feel comfortable, but this is another option for a position to sit in. And in this position, you can just rest your hands on your thighs so your elbows are comfortable. Just another suggestion of a posture if seated like this doesn't work for you. I'm going to give you one more little bit of juice that you can use. I want you to notice your muscles at the bottom of you. And if you are seated like me with either your right or left heel pressing in on the perineum, it will be a lot easier to notice this. Imagine that sensation when you kind of have to pee and you're gripping the muscles. These are Kegel muscle motion for women who are used to doing that kind of muscle motion. Guys, if you do Qigong, you probably do a motion like that as well. But what I want you to do is I want you to tighten in on that and hold it. So we're not going to let it go. And when we inhale and we hold the air in, we're going to imagine when we get it up here into the top of the chest that it's actually expanding the bones of the cranium. That's your skull. So I want you to imagine that your skull is blowing up like a balloon and hold that motion. Remember, we're holding these muscles here as well. Let's exhale to begin. Pulling everything, let this chest and the upper chest and the belly draw in. Now, squeezing in on these muscles, inhaling. Center. Chest, hold. And visualize that your skull is expanding. Make sure you're holding those bottom muscles. Keep holding them. We're not going to let those bottom muscles go as we exhale and deflate. Let's see if we can do 2 more cycles like that, holding on to the perineum and squeezing that. One more cycle. Now relax everything. Just relax and breathe as subtle as you can. The inhale and exhale can become equal. Just close your eyes. Relax the body. Relax the jaw. Again, if you want to lie down now, you can. And imagine you're watching the breath coming in and out through the nose. ever so gently begin to open your eyes again and bring yourself back. I want to thank you all for coming to join me to breathe like a yogi. Upcoming, I've got some more breath classes. If you have any friends who are smokers, I've got a class coming up for them to help them kick the habit and learn how to breathe, to take the motion that they're hooked on with smoking and turn it in to a pranayama, a breathing exercise. So be sure to share that from the page. Beyond that, I will have a couple of Zoom classes coming up. So those you'll have to make a donation in order to get into. And then I will send you the Zoom information. Breathing Toolkit 1 and Breathing Toolkit 2. These will be slightly more advanced for Toolkit 1 and then intermediate. It'll be a lot more advanced for Toolkit 2. But this class that we just did will give you a lot of the foundation that you need. Be sure you watch the videos I made for you just before of neti and cleaning out the sinuses, as well as the information on how to sit. This will help you a great deal with being comfortable with breathing. There is a donation button on the event page for this, and if you'd like to offer anything, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn how to breathe like a yogi. This will be available in replay forever, so please share it with your friends and be good to yourself. Take good care of your body. Building your breath up like this is going to strengthen your immunity because we're strengthening the bronchi, and that's really important right now. Thank you so much.